I recently made a video for tips for the empath in the family. And one of the things that I said in my video was to give yourself permission to leave your family system or leave your role in the family system. So I had a question about that particular one, and somebody asked me to expand upon it a little bit. So I decided I would make another video on how to leave your family role for empaths. So in this video, I'm going to cover some tips for you on how to leave your family role that may be helpful for you so that you can use your empathy for exactly what it's meant for, and that's for feeling the best parts of yourself and others. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth, and I am a transpersonal psychologist and a holistic nutritional chef, and I help people heal themselves using food and the power of the mind and heart to get well now. And that's the name of my best-selling book, Get Well Now, Healing Yourself with Food and the Power of the Mind. And today, as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking to you about how to leave your family role. And this is for empaths and sensitives specifically, but anybody who feels like they really need to step out of their family role because it's really hurting them. You know, first of all, you don't have to physically leave your family for the rest of your life, although a lot of clients that I've worked with have had a lot of help with moving away so that they can get the distance and get the space and get the help that they need in order to let go of a lot of the things that occurred for them. Now I'm talking about particularly with abusive family systems, where it's something beyond dysfunctional. I think every family has some kind of dysfunction, but abusive family systems are different. It cuts a lot deeper, and it's much harder to one, identify your role, which is really the first tip that I'm going to give you is to identify what is your role. And it's harder then to also release and bring in a new way of working with yourself and with the others in your family unit. So I recommend, your family of origin is one of the most important healing forces that you have. I mean, they're the teachers who teach you the most about yourself. And that might be really hard to hear, especially if you've been through a lot of abuse. It may be so dysfunctional and so abusive that you need to stay away. But either way, working on yourself and working on how this has affected you, whether you have a small amount of time in the year that you are engaging with your family, maybe it's just at Christmas or other holidays, or maybe you have to engage with your family quite a bit. And maybe there's cultural issues. There's all different levels and layers that play into this idea of leaving your role in the family system. So back to that first one, and that's really identifying what your role is. Are you the people pleaser? Are you the one who bends over backwards? Are you the one who takes responsibility for everything that goes wrong in the family just to try to keep the peace? Are you the truth teller? The one who points out the truth that people in the system, especially usually the abuser, really doesn't want to see the truth. That's what they're trying to avoid desperately, is seeing the truth as it is. Are you the one who falls apart at everything? Are you the one who kind of gets tough and then kind of goes into a mode of yelling and screaming? Most empaths don't do that. They tend to be more on the people-pleasing end, but it's really just like thinking about what your role is in the family system, and in order to end your role, it's giving it up. And you can even do some kind of a ritual around this as you identify, this was my role. I've been the peacekeeper, the people pleaser, and I'm going to create this ritual to release myself of this role. Because ultimately, it's about you doing this work on yourself for your own self transformation and your own self evolution. So you may not be able to do this with anybody in your family. You probably won't be able to ever talk about this with anyone in your family. but you may recognize that, hey, you need to no longer do things the way that you're doing them if you want to keep your health, your sanity, your sense of self, and continue to expand that sense of self, because that's extremely important. So, so number two, this brings me to number two. So that first one is identify what your role is in the first place. And number two is to find methods to help you release yourself from that role. The ceremony of some sort as a signal to cross over into a new way of being in your family. That's something that can help you as sort of an initiatory rite for yourself as you move forward. But so, a lot of the methods that we use to release ourselves from old past patterns, there's many different types. There's all different types of therapy. One of the things I found the most beneficial and helpful is transpersonal psychology, somatic experiencing or somatic therapies. And then, of course, my whole person integration technique, which I work with people all over the world with that. And that's releasing the emotional weight, the emotional energy you're holding in your body from past experiences, along with the core thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are associated with that physical sensation that may actually be resulting in illness in your body, like it was in mine. Oh boy, boy, did I have a lot of illnesses and difficulties as the empath in my family. So I really understand this at a very deep level, and I've helped so many of my clients with releasing themselves from this role, and from the pain of long-standing abuse and how that affects your physical body. So okay, so there's journaling, there's meditation, there's all different types of things that can help you. There's time in nature, somatic therapies, as I mentioned. There's so many different types of therapies out there. Some people get a lot of relief from tapping. Tapping didn't really help me all that much, but it may help you. And even though, of course, I'm going to talk about what I do, and so that you are informed in what I do, but resonance is the most important thing. So you need to choose things based on the thing that resonates most with you. Although sometimes you may be fighting against something that could be really good for you. So pay attention to that. If it's sort of an extreme fight, there might be something in it that might be really great for you. So, because there might be holding a belief that is somebody else's. We do that a lot, where we hold beliefs that belong to somebody else. So the next thing, that after you have found methods to release this, worked with a therapist, maybe work with somebody like myself. I work with people all over the world, and my therapy is very rapid, and it helps you to transform pretty quickly that connection between past experiences and how the body holds it and releasing it. So the next thing you want to do is to set new boundaries for your family. And so you may find yourself just stating, hey, I can no longer do this thing. I'm just not going to do this thing anymore. And you may have to create your own boundaries. Maybe you call every Sunday and you dread it. Maybe you'll have to say, hey, I'm not available to talk. I can only do this every couple of weeks. Something that you may need to do just as you work through your own work. So setting new boundaries for people around you, for yourself, and don't expect that they're going to honor them. I think that we get a lot of discomfort in our own lives when we expect that the people in our family are going to honor our boundaries. Sometimes they'll laugh at them. They're uncomfortable. As you change within the family system, they get very uncomfortable because they don't know where to place you anymore. The key is to no longer allow them to plug into you, in essence, energetically, to kind of plug into you and stir you up, and getting to that point where you just don't allow them to plug into you anymore. So they don't get to have your energy anymore, and that's part of those boundaries that I'm talking about. And again, you may have to kind of separate yourself out from the family for a little while to be able to get a really strong sense of self. If you're from an abusive family system, you'll be very confused about a lot of things. And a big one you might be confused about is your sense of self, and that strength inside of yourself. And you may need some time to really get into that place where you can be there. So like I said, don't expect other people in your family to honor your boundaries, but expect yourself to honor your own boundaries. That is such an act of self-love and self-care to honor your boundaries. And also remember that everybody has their own process. So everybody in your family has their own process and their own ways of dealing with things as well. And as you become more conscious and you do your own inner work, those processes that they have will become more and more clear to you, which leads you really to the next thing that I want to talk about is acceptance. And that's accepting yourself and others as they are within the family system. You cannot change them. The only person you can change is yourself. And as you change, they may not be able to see or recognize or want to see or recognize your changes. You're going to feel those changes internally. So you're going to feel that power inside of yourself. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel more yourself. You're going to be claiming more and more pieces and parts of yourself and feeling more empowered within your own being. They may not see that. And so you accepting that, okay, you know what, they may not see that. That's fine. But the people that do see that in you, those are the people that are the greatest strength to you in your life as you move forward. Those are the people that you attracted in that are operating at your wavelength, at your frequency and your vibration. And you'll continue, as you evolve, you'll continue to attract more and more people that match that frequency you're now getting to. So when you do go back to your family, staying in that firm sense of self is a challenge. And that is a challenge that I know you can meet. I know you can take, and I know you can be solid within yourself. But acceptance is key, and accepting that they'll never, or they likely will never see who you have become. Remember that you are the conscious one. You are the sensitive one. You are the empathic one. You are the intuitive one. And because of that, you have access to so much more information and a much deeper understanding about yourself and about them and about the system than you had before. And so that's a powerful place to be. And so honor that about yourself. Honor that you're in that place, and do the best you can. I mean, that's all we can do. Is really do the best to accept ourselves and accept our family members as they are, and make decisions based on that, on how much contact you want to have with them, and working with maybe you have tendencies, a lot of empaths have a tendency to kind of go into the guilt and the shame about leaving the system. There might be somebody within the system you're trying to protect. Well, they have their own level of consciousness and their own agreement that they made to what's happening within the abusive family system. And so learning to let go of needing to rescue them, and to really work on yourself. I almost said the word save yourself, but it's just like shifting that rescue energy. It's just working on you is the most important thing that you can do. So finding somebody you can talk to, someone who gets you and understands you and can help you evolve very quickly, again, could be very helpful for you. So if any of this resonates with you, and if you have any comments or questions, you can just put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And the links below, there's also ways to get in touch with me. You can schedule a free consultation if you want to talk to me about anything that I said in this video. You can also email me at meg@meghaworth.com and ask me questions. If you want me to elaborate on a point that I made in this video, I'd love to help you with that as well. But just to kind of go over very quickly the points that I made today, and how to leave your role in the family system for empaths. One is identify what your role is and what you need to unplug from, the rescuer maybe. people pleaser. Number 2, find methods to help you release yourself from this role. So that's some kind of a therapy. If you do something that is holistic, that's going to be the thing that's going to work the fastest for you. And the most permanently transformative as well. So, and then the next thing is to set new boundaries for yourself and for others, and not to expect that they're going to honor them, but to expect yourself to honor your own. And then accept yourself as you are, and accept the other members of your family as they are as well. They're a work in progress just like you are. They have their own inner world. They have their own realizations. They may be much slower than yours are. But everybody is having their own experience. So it's having that love and kindness to honor their own experience as well. And then again, think about the physical and emotional distancing that you may need to do in order to get yourself well. So that's really it for this video. Again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And I really sincerely, seriously hope that this information will help you get well.